In 1970, Soviet scientists began drilling a hole into the Earth, not for oil, not for gas, not for any resource, just to see how deep they could go. 24 years later, they stopped, not because they ran out of money, not because the equipment failed. They stopped because of what they found at the bottom, and what they claimed to have heard coming from below changed everything. The Kola Superdeep borehole, located in northwestern Russia, near the Norwegian border. At 12.2 kilometers deep, it is the deepest hole ever drilled by human hands. Deeper than the deepest point in any ocean, deeper than any mine, deeper than anything ever attempted before or since. But the depth is not what made this hole famous. It was the story that leaked out of the Soviet facility in 1989. Scientists claimed that at the very bottom of the hole, they lowered a microphone, and what came back up through the recording was the sound of human screaming, thousands of voices in agony from somewhere below. To understand how this happened, go back to 1970. The Cold War was at its most intense. America and the Soviet Union were competing in everything: space, weapons, technology, and now the Earth itself. The Soviets launched a project so ambitious, it seemed impossible. Drill deeper into the final Earth's crust than any human had ever gone. It was called the Kola Superdeep Borehole Project. A team of Soviet scientists worked around the clock, 365 days a year, for 24 straight years. They used a drill bit, only 23 centimeters wide. The hole was barely wider than a human hand. But what they found, as they went deeper, shocked everyone. At 7 kilometers deep, they found water, not from above. Water created by the pressure of the rock itself. At 9 kilometers, they found microscopic life forms, living organisms, in rock billions of years old. At 12 kilometers, the temperature reached 180 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. The drill bits melted. The equipment failed. The hole fought back, but none of that is what the world remembers this hole for. In 1989, a story appeared in a Finnish Christian newspaper. It claimed that Soviet scientists had lowered a heat-resistant microphone into the borehole. The recording they retrieved contained the sounds of millions of tortured souls screaming in agony. The scientists, according to the story, were so disturbed by what they heard that several of them quit immediately. One scientist reportedly said, "We have drilled into hell." The story spread across the world instantly. Religious groups called it proof of the afterlife. Newspapers ran it as fact. Millions of people believed it. But here is the truth. The story was completely fabricated. No microphone was ever lowered into the hole. The temperature at the bottom was 180 degrees. Nothing electronic could survive down there. The screaming recording was traced back to a 1980s horror film soundtrack. But the real discoveries made inside the Kola hole, the ones that are actually true, are just as mind-blowing. Water created by rock pressure, living organisms in billion-year-old stone, rock samples from a time before life existed on Earth, and temperatures so extreme that our understanding of the Earth's crust was completely rewritten. Today, the Kola Superdeep borehole is sealed shut. A simple rusted metal cap sits on top of the deepest hole ever dug by human hands. The facility is abandoned. The scientists are gone. The Cold War is over. But the hole remains, 12.2 kilometers deep, going nowhere. We drilled deeper into our own planet than we ever have before. And what we found down there was more surprising than any screaming could ever be. So tell me, do you believe the Family Co's screaming story? Or do you think the real discoveries are more fascinating? Comment below. I read every single one. Subscribe to Info Beyond Borders, because the world is far stranger than you think.
Subscribe Info Beyond Borders now for more mind-blowing knowledge.